Hey everybody, Tokusa here and welcome back to another My Hero Ultra Impact video. So we are on Club Fest Day 6, the second last day, and today's probably the trickiest day, if you want to even call it that. I'm not gonna lie, so far, I don't know what the heck they could throw at us Day 7, but compared to the last two Club Fests, I found that this one has been a lot easier to deal with. To score as high, it's been a little bit tricky, but in terms of just like BS, it's been pretty straightforward. I would say today is probably the trickiest of them all. It does require some resetting when I get into it, but as you can see, I scored 264k here. I've done a few runs. I haven't really gotten in too much time. I've been so busy this entire week, so I'm kind of happy that I could just focus on Club Fest for the time being. Kind of works out really well for me. But yeah, from the few runs that I've done, 264 has been the best score I've attained, and it is due to my GOAT, Tokoyami. So, when I say this one requires some reset here is because the bottom unit that you have to deal with the most of the time is Kaminari. Kaminari, I'm sure many know the fantasy one by now, is a prick when it comes to paralysis. He can get you many times in that first slot. So, unfortunately, you're going to have to deal with that. And then another unit that a lot of people probably struggle with, I would assume, is Kirishima. So, obviously with Kirishima, he's got ridiculous defenses, he can counteract, which is why I use the two units that I do here. Bakugo, of course, removes the buffs, debuffs the opponents, of course, but he does remove the buffs, so you aggro Kirishima, but you're going to remove the buffs off Kirishima, and then you should be able to attack him, and he's not going to do his dumb counter, and then Tokoyami for piercing shot. And he does a lot more damage than I find than Steampunk Deku, because Steampunk Deku only does single-targeted attacks, where Tokoyami has an AoE in there, plus his normal hits multiple times and tremendously hard, right? So I figure that's probably the best. Now there's probably other units that could work pretty well in this slot, right? Like Lady Nagant, I'm sure would be really good here. I'm sure that Steampunk Bakugo could still probably cook up a pretty good amount of damage here. Units with piercing shot, AoE, there is a purple unit in there, so maybe Yellow Dobby could probably put in some work. I feel like UR plus Shoji would probably be a god in here if you have, if you're a whale or if you just a big, got really lucky on Shoji. Him maxed out would probably do ridiculous damage. But yeah, for my setup, granted I didn't really try too many teams. This has been my go-to team. And yeah, I'm just gonna do an entire run and show y'all how I do it. And I will be resetting until I get the first turn without being paralyzed. I would love to do it in one go game, just so I don't have to. Oh no, I have auto on. Oh, fumble. Okay, I still want to Bakugo, which is what I usually do anyways. But I usually do the other action skill. Yeah, I was doing VE Tower, and yeah, I always have auto on for VE Tower. Okay, so it doesn't matter, because we got paralyzed. So we get to do the good old forfeit. This can take 1 try, this could take 7 tries. I think when I got my best score, it took me 4 tries before I finally got past the first turn. And then you could still get paralyzed on the second time he does it, which is like turn 8. And then he can do it one more time on like turn 13 or something, which can mess up your score again. There's a lot of crap you have to like play trial and error for here, which is kind of crappy, but it is what it is. But yeah, I always like to apply the debuff right off the bat, even if Kirishima's taking way less damage. And then I like Tokoyami, of course, doing his AoE to get the normal damage up. Paralyzed round 2. Here we go. Okay. You see, this could be a nice 7 to 10 minute video. It could be half an hour. I don't know what I'm going to be dealing with here, but hopefully not too much longer of this BS. But yeah, I figure most people that are trying to get like the best score that they possibly can, this is what they've been dealing with, right? They've been dealing with these crazy resets. They've been trying to get past Kaminari's paralyzation. And I know there's a memory out there that like it negates it a bit, but it's an SR memory, I believe. Now, if there's UR memory out there, y'all let me know, please, because I would love to make my life easy. But from my understanding, I believe it's just an SR memory that lowers paralysis. There we go! Hey, woo, turn 3. And now, yeah, it's just kind of, for me, it's just trial and error trying to get past it. Alright, so now that we have avoided being paralyzed. Now the whole point here is to make sure my Bakugo survives a few turns, which is why I prioritize the crit rate on him for a little bit. Because my Celebrations Bakugo is not near as tanky as my Tokoyami, and he just doesn't have the HP as Tokoyami does, so that most of the time they like to hit him. And there's a beautiful representation of buff block. Kirishima cannot do his ridiculous counter. And this is why I like giving my max HPs to Bakugo off the bat, because of Kaminari's plus Ultra. It does not paralyze, but it does hit like a freaking truck. So, and it always goes towards Bakugo, and I have to prioritize him. I need to make sure that he can take that hit right there, which he does. Beautiful. And now we're in a better spot. I wouldn't say we're safe yet, but we're in a better spot for sure. Now, I've changed it up here and there of how I like to approach the second turn right here. Sometimes I like to give Bakugo the next max HP right here, just to make sure he survives a little bit longer. But I'm going to try to actually focus on Tokoyami. It might backfire later down the fight. I might obviously take a lot more damage than I should be, and Bakugo might get KO'd. But since this run's going somewhat better, I'm probably just going to leave it the way it is and keep it in, and this will be my run for the video. But yeah, now it's essentially just rinse and repeat. I always time the buff block with Bakugo, which is his single targeted attack, for the time Kirishima likes to do his dumb counter. And then, yeah, and then just kind of doing as much AoE damage as I can. Amplifying Tokoyami as much as I can, right? Because even though Bakugo's doing pretty solid damage, it's Tokoyami for me that's doing everything. Now, see, I would reset here. 99% of the time... that's a lie. 100% of the time, I would reset here. So in a perfect run, I'm not getting paralyzed here as well. I'm just going to deal with it for the video, but this is what I would do. So I would reset here, and then I would have... I would try to get past these 2 turns of paralyzed. When I got my best score, I got paralyzed on turn 13. And then see, when I don't have Bakugo up, I end up getting countered and I lose all that normal damage. So my score is going to be quite doo-doo, I guess you could say. But yeah, that's essentially what I'll do. So I would just rinse and repeat until I don't get paralyzed. Yes, I'm too... I've got to say it's lazy and busy, whatever the middle ground of that is, to actually try to get a perfect run right now. I could, of course, try to focus to get a perfect run without being paralyzed. Yes, I know. It's pretty sad that my best score is still me getting paralyzed. I could obviously do better, but this is just kind of me showing you an idea, though. But after that, it's pretty much the same thing, right? Try to avoid the paralyze, at least on turn 1 and I think that it is turn 8, right? And then I make sure that my buff block move with Bakugo is at the same time as Kaminari's counter. Sorry, I was just trying to think there. I don't even know what I'm thinking. This score is going to be crap. But yeah. Time Kaminari's countering with Bakugo's buff block, so he doesn't counter. Of course, having a piercing shot unit is incredibly valuable here, just because Kaminari always has aggro, and you're not going to do near as much damage if you don't have that. And yeah, playing trial and error with Kaminari's good old freaking paralyzation, which is lots of fun. Still going to be over 200k, but it's definitely not going to be anywhere in the realm of my best score. But you have the general idea of what I do. Still pretty solid. I didn't get stunned there or paralyzed on turn 13, so that's an improvement. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then Ida being very annoying. I think on my best run, when Bakugo got back up, I buff blocked Ida so that he didn't have that annoying dodge, and then Tokoyami could actually hit him with his normals. Racked me up a few more points, but... Anyways, there you go. 222, obviously not very good, but if you take out that I got paralyzed turn 8, I probably would have got around the same score as my 264 here. But yeah, that's how I got that. I've heard a lot of people can't really get even above 300k on this one, like 350, maybe. I don't even think anyone's breached 400k in this fight. It's been pretty tricky. Club battle still going on pretty strong, very close fight, but yeah, as you can see, the growth from each day has definitely slowed down. No 500Ks across the board, right? It's a little bit trickier, obviously, with Kaminari or Kirishima covering and reducing damage like crazy, and then obviously like slowing down units like Steampunk Bakugo, who doesn't have piercing shot all the time or at all. And yeah, it just changes the tides of the fight quite a bit here. So piercing shot's the way to go. Lady Nagana I would recommend. Tokoyami I would recommend. Of course, Steampunk Deku I would recommend. So if you have one of those, try them out. I'm sure Sue, other like Dobby, they might work in here pretty well as well. But from my understanding, for me, Tokoyami was the best choice. You are plus, right? My GOAT. So anytime I can use him and represent him, I'm a very happy person. So I might try a few more runs off camera, but I'm pretty happy with 264. So anyways, best of luck when you are attempting this day. Hopefully you score better than I did, and hopefully you get a pretty good run in there. And yeah, until the next one, take care, and I'll see y'all on the final day. Tokus out.